So TSN publishes their top 40, and they've been going over and over and over this. And I know right now there's a lot of messages on my page. Do you think the Rangers are going to get Shattenkirk for? And it's all listed out. Do you think Landeskog is going to go for? Do you think Duchene's going to go for? So I'm just going to go over the list of 40. And I'm going to go through overpayments, underpayments, and underrated. Number one on the list, Kevin Shattenkirk. I know he's an unrestricted free agent, but he has 42 points in 60 games, and he is the best blue liner St. Louis has. And I baffled as to why everybody's just convinced he's just going to go. And the number one reason I seem to hear all the time is, well, Backes went for nothing, so they don't want to lose Shattenkirk for nothing. That's stupid. Don't trade away your key defenseman at the deadline when you're in the running for the playoffs. It sends the wrong message to that locker room. Tells the locker room, we don't think we can sign him, and we don't feel we're close enough to a Stanley Cup to take the risk. So that's why I don't think he moves. Number two on the list is Matt Duchene, who's got 2 more years left at $6 million. His 36 points in 53 games are a little underwhelming, as I said in last night's video. I don't think he moves. I think Colorado wants too much back. Either Colorado drops what they're asking for, or I think he stays. Patrick Eaves in Dallas, I've mentioned this before. I think he's going to get traded. He's got a $1 million cap hit. He's a UFA at the end of the year, and he scored 21 goals. There isn't anything more you can ask for. He's playing the best hockey of his career right now, and I really hope a good team picks him up, and I really hope he doesn't go to a team I dislike. But if he does, it's going to be hard for me not to cheer for him. Martin Hanzal, I think he gets dealt. I think he makes the most sense for Montreal. I know Montreal fans want Duchene, but I think Hanzal makes sense. His scoring totals, his goals have been good, 15 goals. He has an NTC. I can't see him not having Montreal on a list, like no trade to Montreal. I can't see it. Okay, I would imagine Hanzal, after years in the desert, wants to win somewhere, wants to go to a playoff team, so that's what's going to happen. Landeskog. I think Gabriel's going to move. I do. The rumors about Boston make sense. Boston needs a lot of help up front, and I think Gabriel Landeskog would experience at least a bump for Boston. There's that post-trade bump where guys for their first 10 games, 15 games sometimes, will play really, really well. And if Boston can get a forward who does that and comes in and plays really well, and if he plays the game that he showed as a rookie, then he could do tremendous wonders for Boston. He's got 4 more years left at $5.57 million. That would seem prohibitive for Boston, considering their cap troubles, but Boston's never seemed to be shy about going over the cap before, so, or at least skirting around it. Thomas Vanek, at $2.6 million with 38 points, he's going to move. He is going to be a rental. I think the Wings might even be able to get a first for him. It's not a great draft, and there's teams out there that want to make that run. So it's a matter of who wants to make that run now. I think Vanek moves. Bishop's and there's an article on TSN about how Vegas is able to start drafting as soon as possibly next week. So it's not going to be before the trade deadline, but after. So what they will be trading for, they can't trade for active NHL players, of course, because they don't have a roster yet, but they could trade for futures. Meaning, let's say Tampa Bay goes to George McPhee of the Las Vegas Golden Eagles, Knights, Showers, doesn't matter. He goes to George McPhee and says, look, we've got Bishop and we've got Vasilevsky. If you don't take Bishop when we leave him exposed, we'll give you our first. And Vegas goes, all right. Trade is made. No players change hands, and Tampa doesn't have to worry about trading Bishop. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Pittsburgh's going to do that with Fleury too. Evander Kane for Buffalo. He has 1 more year left at $5.3 million. I think with the way he's been playing, I think Buffalo's going to keep him. I don't think they're going to get back what he's worth. That's the key thing at the deadline. It's not just money. It's not just selling off for your future. It's, are you getting value back? And if you're not going to get value back, and with Evander Kane's reputation being where it's been, I don't think value goes back to Buffalo, so I think he stays there. Brian Boyle in Tampa has moved up this list. 20 points, 51 games, $2 million. He'll make a very good fourth-line center for a contender and a decent third-line center for a team that doesn't have depth down the middle. Either way, I think he does move. Verbata's going to move, and whoever gets Verbata is going to be disappointed. He's benefited from getting a ton of ice time in Arizona. He's not going to get anywhere else. Patrick Sharp in Dallas. A lot of rumors about maybe Chicago. I'm telling you, if you're a Chicago fan, you don't want this guy back. Sharp has fallen way off the map this year. He is not the same player. He's been injured, and injuries at 35, it takes a little longer to heal up. Trust me, take it from a guy who's north of 35. It takes a little bit longer to get over things, and Sharp's just not having a very good season. And a trade could help him, but that $5.9 million, and then he's UFA at the end of the year. I don't know. I think it's a big risk. Patrick Berglund, his $3.7 million would have been prohibitive until he scored all these goals to get up to 17. He's UFA at the end of the year. He has no trade clause. Again, he'll waive or he'll choose which teams he moves to. But I think Berglund goes. I do. Here's the reason. Berglund or Shattenkirk, who are you going to keep? You're going to keep Shattenkirk. I think Berglund goes because St. Louis has some good young forwards that they can plug in there, and they're at a good cap hit. And then use some of that money you save to re-sign Shattenkirk. Anthony Duclair, I think he's going to move. I think he's going to be a steal. He's an RFA at the end of the year. I think he just needs a change of scenery. Michael Grigorenko is an RFA at the end of the year. He may move if anybody wants him. I think he's almost done in the NHL. I think he'll end up in the KHL at the end of this year. Dmitry Kulikov in Buffalo, he may move, but he hasn't scored any points. He's been injured a lot. He's a UFA at the end of the year. He's not going to get a lot back. Curtis Lazar is an interesting story. 1 point in 32 games, RFA at the end of the year. Apparently, Ottawa's upset because they're getting lowball offers for players. My guess is Lazar's probably getting offers of 5th, 6th rounder, maybe some throwaway prospect thrown in, and Ottawa feels, well, he's still only 21. We'll just keep him. And I can't fault that logic. Matthew Perreault in Winnipeg, 23 points, 46 games. There are 4 years left on that contract. I think the contract makes it hard to move him with the 4 years left. And Winnipeg's technically still in the playoff race. So moving him and not getting a player back to put in the lineup, it would be problematic. Even though he hasn't been scoring very well, he's still a decent enough forward that you need to replace him. Alex Burrows, I think, is going to go. He's played much better lately, and I think he's going to get traded. I think Montreal's a natural fit. I just got a funny feeling that him in a Montreal jersey, I just want to punch him. It just seems to fit. Jerome McGinley, Colorado, 16 points, 58 games. I've got a bad feeling that he's not going anywhere. I think this is going to be Iggy's last ride, and I think this is it. I don't think he's going anywhere. Marc-Andre Fleury, same as Ben Bishop. I think Pittsburgh's going to make a deal to make sure they don't have to worry about who they expose. Obviously Matt Murray, and everybody says, oh, well, Matt Murray will be exposed. Well, Vegas would grab him. Not if they make a deal with Pittsburgh beforehand not to grab him. And the question then gets asked, well, why would Vegas do that? Because George McPhee wants to be able to deal with other GMs. George McPhee can make a deal with Pittsburgh and say, all right, you're going to give us your first-round draft pick this year, so we don't touch Matt Murray. Fine. He could pick up 2 first-round draft picks before he's even done an expansion draft from Tampa and from Pittsburgh. Then, or perhaps a second-rounder for Bishop. But then, with Fleury, he is, he's not the goalie he once was, and Murray's the one they have to expose. But I think the deal gets done because then afterwards, McPhee can go to Rutherford and say, hey, we let you guys keep Murray. Why don't we talk about some of your depth here and maybe we can work out a deal? and a deal gets worked out that benefits Vegas. That's the thing. The trick for George McPhee is to ice a team that's competitive in September and into October next year. And picking up Matt Murray from Pittsburgh and not listening to the phone, if that's the case, I think that's problematic. So I have a funny feeling Fleury's not going to get moved because his numbers aren't very good. He has 2 years left. The cap hits on the highish side. I mean, if he can rediscover his form somewhere else, but it's tricky. Really, really tricky. Kyle Quincy in Jersey, he probably moves. Rental, he's probably going to get a mid-round draft pick back. Andrei Pavlich isn't going anywhere. His stats didn't improve when he came back up for that run. It was a smart move by Winnipeg to give it a shot, but it didn't really improve his stock. Shane Doan in Arizona, he's going to move. He has not scored very well. I know his scoring is around the same as Ginla's, but I think Doan still brings enough to the rink that I think somebody's going to want him for that one last shot. And the fact that his cap hits $1.5 million cheaper means that a team that's closer to the cap and just skirting it and just watching it, the capologists are geniuses at this time of year. They save the bacon many GMs. Jordan Eberle, I don't think he moves. Can't see it. Drew Stafford, I don't see anybody making an offer for Stafford. Mark Streit in Philly, he might draw interest, but Philly'd have to drop out of the race, I would think, and you have to find a team that can take that $5.3 million, or you're going to be eating a bad contract coming back. I know he's UFA, but again, some of the teams that are looking to make the trades are right at that cap, so it's frustrating to watch, but it is what it is. Yarrow Halak, he's not going anywhere. Brandon Peary in New York is on this list. Why? Okay, if you're a Rangers fan, and I know I got some Rangers fans out there, why in the world would the Rangers even think about trading Brandon Peary? I don't know why he's on this list. Valtteri Filppula, he's not going anywhere. He's got another year left. He's got 7 goals in 57 games and $5 million contract. He's not going anywhere. Jannik Hansen, he has a no trade. He doesn't have full no trade, so he can, I think it's 8 teams he can write down that he won't go to. But Hansen will accept a trade. He doesn't want to move, though. Hansen's a very good forward. He is injury prone. He is basically Sami Salo as a forward. But when he's in the game, he is a heart and soul glue guy, and it'll be a shame if he gets traded. But he could be very useful down the stretch and in the playoffs for somebody. Ron Hainsey in Carolina, he might get traded. You're not going to get a lot for him. Cody Franzen in Buffalo, sure, he can frustrate another fan base. He'll get moved. Joni Oduya, please. As a Dallas fan, I plead with any GM, please. I know he's been injured. Whatever, please. Just take him. Just take him. Please. Michael Del Zotto in Philly. Man, I would take a flyer on him. I didn't mean that as a joke. He's only 26. He's $3.9 million cap hit. He's UFA in the offseason. He's only got 10 points in 32 games. I like Del Zotto. I've always liked Del Zotto. Like, if the Canucks went out at the deadline and they brought in Del Zotto and they announced they were re-signing him for 2 years at $2.5 million per, I'd be floored. I'd be very happy with that. I like Del Zotto a lot. I don't know what's happened to his offensive game, but there is one there. I remember when he was a rookie and being impressed with him, and I think on the right team he'll be very good. Brendan Smith, UFA at the end of this year. He's a good enough defenseman. I think he'll be a good rental. Jonas Enroth is on this list. Anaheim. Why? He's not going anywhere. Patrick Weirkoch, or as I used to call him, Weird Crotch. Weirkoch is good enough that he'll make a decent rental, especially the $800K cap hit. David Desharnais in Montreal, he's not going anywhere. Montreal's not trading Desharnais. I can't see it. I can't see, because again, what value are they going to get back? What value right now would Montreal get back for Desharnais? It's not going to be worth it. They're not making the move. Yuri Hudler in Dallas. Sure, I guess. I can't see him going anywhere, and I can't see anybody giving anything up for him. And then Greg Pattern in Montreal rounds out the top 40. So there you go. I saved you a click, and let me know in the comments below who you think is going to get moved. I don't see a lot of these guys getting moved. I don't. And even worse, there's a lot of players on this list I don't think will make a difference. The key is this. Trade deadline deals that actually result in Stanley Cup success, there's very, very few. Very, very few. But it all started back when Pittsburgh got Ron Francis, Larry Murphy, and ran their way to the Cup. But taking advantage of the Hartford Whalers is what happened there. They overrated John Cullen. They dramatically overrated Zarley Zalapsky. And Ron Francis with the Penguins, Stanley Cup. That's when, I mean, Butch Goring was the original trade deadline pickup. Oh my God, they won the Cup. But the Francis deal was the one that really made everybody stand up and pay attention, in my generation anyway. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We're getting close to that trade deadline, close enough that I did put in at work today to leave work early on next Wednesday so I can come home and hopefully live stream and talk to you guys about all the great trades that didn't happen. I'm very excited. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing your way through, and I will talk to you all again very, very soon. I'm kind of excited about some of the games for tonight. Edmonton and Florida I'm kind of excited about, so it's going to be fun to watch that and discuss it after that's done. Thanks for watching.